Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Whether you're watching or listening, this is Heated Shenanigans Podcast, the only podcast bringing you the heat each and every single week. I am your host, Scott, and of course, joining me today, the legend himself, the former GM of Smackdown, Mr. Teddy Long. Sir, how are you?
Well, I'm very good, Scott, and just want to say what a pleasure it is to be here with you, man, and appreciate the invite, and thank you so much for having me on the Heated Shenanigans Podcast. I've heard a lot about this, man, so I'm like, I couldn't wait to get here and talk to you.
Man, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Teddy. Well, let's get started in this, Teddy. Recently, you were back on WWE TV not too long ago doing the Raw 30 anniversary. How was it to be back in front of the WWE Universe? Was it just like you remembered?
Well, it's just like it was like another day at work. I never lose it. So anytime I go, I don't care if it's a year, Sigma, whatever. It's all this. I walk right out. I'm the same guy. So, but like you said, it was really enjoying seeing a lot of the guys I hadn't seen before, especially JBL. Me and him and Ron Simmons, we always have a great time together. So that's who I hung out with basically that night at TV, me, JBL, and Ron. But seeing some of the guys like Sami Zayn, just want to say, man, what an outstanding guy. And, he is blessed and he will be the next big thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I had a chance to talk to Sammy before I left. And I don't do that, with a lot of guys. 'Cause a lot of guys, they listen, but they don't. But Sammy, kind of showed me that he was listening. And so I let him know, man, you got it. Just, keep a great attitude, keep your ears open, keep your mouth shut, and just do what they tell you right now, man, and you'll be the guy. So congratulations to Sami Zayn.
He's on a trajectory that has not been seen since probably Kofi Mania in terms of just launching into stardom. And he's always had it. Sammy has always been a magnificent talent.
Yeah, well, like I said, sometimes, a lot of guys walk around there. There may be some guys there now with magnificent talent. You just have to be discovered. And some kind of way, some guys are lucky till you step into something and you don't even know you're being discovered. And all of a sudden it happens for you, and I think that's the best way for it to do is for it to come as a surprise, and, that way I think you can handle it a little bit better.
Perfectly said, Teddy. Over the course of your career, you have accomplished so much from managing to referee work to being the general manager. Which role throughout your career do you think you enjoyed the most, and what was a role that you maybe didn't enjoy so much?
Well, all of the roles I enjoyed. I didn't have no problem when I was managing, you know what I mean? Especially, I had a great time when I was a heel manager back when I had Butch Reed and Ron Simmons and the team of Doom, Skyscrapers, Dan Spivey, Sid Vicious, and, Undertaker had a chance to come in and be one of the Skyscrapers. We lost Sid. Well, he went out for injury or something, I think it was. But anyway, I just enjoyed being a heel manager because, for the people cussing me and messing with me, I thought it was hilarious. This is funny to me. And and I just couldn't wait to get back at some of them so I could heckle them, and make them heckle me. So I enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed being the general manager of SmackDown. That was an opportunity that, everybody, you just don't get that. That's a blessing. So I was, glad that God blessed me to get in that position. And also I was really blessed to satisfy Vince, make him happy. And that's why I stayed there for 9 years as the general manager, because I did my job and I made Vince happy.
Now, were you always the choice from a backstage perspective to become the general manager of SmackDown around that time? Or was it something people saw in the back, you're like, this would be really good for Teddy?
Well, no, I don't think. Here's the way I think it was. At first, I went into Vince. I was refereeing. I went back to refereeing all the way back to the job that that brought me to the dance. And then after they had a meeting there. Excuse me, I got my dog here, and he's just trying to get by me. Come on.
Oh, let him in. We love having him
all
on
right.
the podcast.
But anyway, after I started refereeing, they had this meeting, and there was Sergeant Slaughter, I believe Michael Hayes and Earl Hebner, and they told Vince about me. He said, you got a guy right here now, Teddy Long, that can talk. And Vince, I guess he never did watch WCW. He didn't really know me. And so they talked to him about that. So that's when they brought me in as a manager. And so when I came in as a manager, I walked out the first night with D'Lo Brown, and I cut this promo on Tommy Dreamer. And when I come back in, Vince McMahon was standing up and he was waiting on me, and he called me and he said, "I can't believe I've had you right here under my nose all this time." So anyway, to jump from that, after I started being this heel manager, I think Vince found out I could talk. Nobody ever told me that I was going to be the general manager. Nothing. I never knew nothing about it until the day I walked into TV, and it was about 5 minutes before SmackDown went live. I think Kurt Angle might have been one of the general managers of SmackDown. I believe Stephanie McMahon was there before me. And like maybe 5 minutes before we went on the air, one of the writers come back and he told me, he said, "You're going to be going to announce you tonight as the new general manager." And I think they kept it secret because a lot of guys, when you tell them stuff back then, they would go straight to social media, straight to the internet, and they tell it, so there's no surprise for the people on TV if you already know it. So they told me about 5 minutes before I walked out. Jesus Christ, that was just too much. I was nervous, man. I'm like, wait, come on. But, I can't let Vince down. This is, the opportunity of a lifetime. So I walked out, and it's been, good ever since.
So you had such a memorable run, and so many people remember the entire, not just like the start of you being the GM. They remember the whole damn thing, all the way to going one-on-one with the Undertaker and the tag team matches.
Yeah. And I came up with all that myself. That was never written for me by no writer or nothing. I always tell this, one time I remember me and Vince and Stephanie, we had did something, we did a promo or something together, me and Stephanie did. And we come back and Vince called both of us over and he talked to us and he wanted me to put more emphasis on the person's name. And so I understood that. But when I went out and said one-on-one with The Undertaker, I was putting, like Vince said, make it mean something. So never did think it would blow up like it did. I go places now, man. I see people, everybody, one-on-one with The Undertaker. Or when I started doing the tag team match, that was something else. Make it mean something. Tag team match, and so that's how all that happened.
Say, over the course of your legendary career, Teddy, I mean, you've seen so much in terms of professional wrestling. What would you say in your journey is the best story you've seen told in a ring? Not necessarily a match, but the psychology of what's being told to the fans.
Well, what I see now, I'll tell you what I think now. The Bloodline. Bloodline is a great story. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that right now. I haven't seen nothing like that since the Attitude Era. The other story that I have to include myself would be the kidnapping of me. The Undertaker kidnaps me, and everything that led all the way up to that. With me, having Vince McMahon's picture on the wall, and they tore it all up, and I couldn't show Vince's picture. I had to stall him as long as I could because I know the picture's messed up. So it was just, and then I got security trying to get me out of the building. Before Undertaker gets me, get in the limo, think I'm free, ready to go. Next thing I know, Undertaker's the driver. So I thought that was outstanding.
I got to agree with you on all that, Teddy. Those are incredible moments throughout what was undoubtedly a legendary career. What would you say is, and this is kind of a three-part question, what would you say is one lesson that you learned throughout your career that you didn't expect to learn, and how did it change your career after you learned it?
Well, the lesson that I really learned, and I guess it took a long time, and I didn't learn that until I went to work for Vince McMahon. When I was in WCW and NWO, I mean, not NWO, NWA. When I was in NWA and WCW, I was like on the job training. I had to learn everything on my own. Nobody told me nothing, and a lot of people didn't want me to know nothing. So that's another reason why I didn't know. But when I went to work for Vince, Vince gave me the opportunity to learn what the wrestling business really was. This is about drawing money. We sell tickets, okay? When you're on that TV, you're telling a story, so you need to make people believe in that story. It's like a soap opera. Like people that I know back in the day, my mother, you couldn't tell her nothing when soap opera time came on. Days of Our Lives or whatever that stuff was. She stopped housework, everything it was. She put it down and went straight to that soap opera because she believed every segment. So that was my goal, to make you believe in what I'm doing. That's how I was successful. I made you believe that I was the general manager. I wasn't taking no crap off of nobody. It's like on a real job. You got a real job. You can't go in there telling the boss what to do or having it your way. It don't work like that. So that's what I learned. I learned to take the wrestling business more serious because I didn't understand, but this made me understand. And that it was just I learned that, and that I think that's what the basic thing you really need to do is learn what this business is all about. And I kept a lot of things to myself because a lot of times you don't let people know what you know. That's the worst thing you could ever do in the wrestling business. So I also learned a lot how to know when to talk and when not to talk and when to keep your ears open. So it's a lot of ins and outs, and you got to learn that stuff. And that's why I was able to stay around so long, because I learned, but a lot of people didn't think I learned.
I mean, knowledge is an incredible power. I had read once in a book, I believe it was Triple H's autobiography, Making the Game. He said in this business, there's always a gun to your head. It's up to you to not put the bullets in it.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, it's up to, because whatever success you have depends on you, the individual. And like I said, when they gave me that general manager spot, this is something I said to myself. I said the only person can mess this up is you. Okay, only person can mess it up would be me. So so the responsibility of this job is on me. So it's going to be successful or it's not going to be. So either way, I would have to be the one to be responsible for whatever happens.
Now, talking about being successful in professional wrestling, obviously you're one of the most decorated managers of all time. If Vince would have came up to you at any point in wrestling history and said, "Hey, Teddy, I want you to give me a tag team, one singles guy, and a female for a stable to you to manage," who would you have picked?
Well, to now, if he had the opportunity now, I'd pick the Street Profits for a tag team. Um, the woman, I guess I would have to go with Becky Lynch. Um, and who else? What was the other one?
One singles guy.
Oh, well, Sami Zayn.
That'd be a pretty dang good stable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, over the course of your career, Teddy, was there ever one guy or maybe a girl tag team, what have you, that you thought, man, I really wish I could have managed them. I really could have provided something that they might have been missing to take them to that next level?
Well, no, I never did really think about that because I had my own job to think about. You know what I mean? I saw, and it's a great question, because there were a lot of people that I saw that I'm like, golly, I would, I want to go and talk to them, but then you had some people like that you couldn't talk to. You couldn't tell them nothing. They knew everything. So, it was just hard. And like I said, my job held a lot of responsibility. So I didn't really have a chance to think about nobody else. I had to think about me, and because I walk into that TV sometime, brother, and I get in there and I got a promo that's 3 pages long. So I got to get this promo in my head before we go live and make sure everything's all right. So I had a big responsibility. So I just couldn't worry about nobody else. I had to worry about my own job.
Now, when it came to the promos, did they want you just to recite everything verbatim, or did you have any free will to kind of change it up?
Well, I had free will. A lot of people don't have free will. Vince gave me free will because Vince found out that he could trust me, that he knew that I wasn't going to go out on that TV and say nothing that I was not supposed to say. So I convinced him that you ain't got to worry about me. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do my job. So I had free reign, but because nobody could write for me, you could write something on the paper. I'll put down I would find out what was really needed to be said in that sentence or whatever they wrote. What do we really need to talk about here? Now let me know that, and then I would add my own charisma to whatever we were talking about, which when I added my stuff to that made it more real.
That's a pretty damn good answer. So one thing, and I get a lot of questions about this to ask guests that come on the podcast that aren't affiliated with AEW, Do you watch AEW at all? Do you have any thoughts on the product?
I don't watch it at all. MJF. For me, with him, I like him. He's got great mic skills, and he's a great wrestler. And he speaks out. You know what I mean? So, he's one of my guys. Jay Cargill. Uh, I'd have to say, she was in NXT, and then she left NXT, and me and Mark Henry had a talk. And at that time, I was working at a school in Georgia here called Face to Face. And Jade Cargill came over, and Mark says he was going to send her over, so the guy, Richard Borger, who owned the school, and we had some trainers there, and those guys were going to help with Jade and, get her right. And so I had a chance to work with her for a good little bit before she ever, went to AEW. So what a sweetheart of a girl. And so I was really happy to, for her success and to watch her go, man, because she looks great and she's great. She's got great mic skills too, and she's tough in the ring. So she's one of them, what we call the total package. So Jay Cargill would be one, and like I said, MJF, I like him quite a bit, but I don't watch them. I heard they told me from AEW, that I was too old to be there. So I don't. If I'm too old to be there, then I'm too old to watch the product.
Eddie, they told you you were too old to be affiliated with them?
Tony Khan, the owner, didn't tell me that, but I got it from somebody that's pretty, that's inside, okay?
Oh, that could not...
And they said that to me, and I thought about it. They got guys right there working now that's the same age as me. So you know what I'm saying, man.
But that's so crazy to think that there's nothing that they could learn from you and your wealth of experience in professional wrestling to give back to the next generation.
Well, like I said, I have never heard a word from them. Nobody there's never even attempted to talk to me. And I got friends there. Well, I thought I had friends. People like JR. He never said one word to them about me, and I've known him through my whole career. In fact, he was the guy that called me to come to work for Vince in 1998. JR called me, and I've known JR for, I don't know, like I said, through my whole career. Me and him even rode together. So, Tony Schiavone, another guy I had the opportunity to work with in WCW. They watched my whole career. They never mentioned my name to none of those people.
That's truly a shame. There's a lot of guys on that roster that would benefit from, even if it wasn't a long booked run with you, just something short to bring out the charisma that they may not have.
Well,
But you don't listen. You got a lot to offer
they don't
still.
look at it like that. We don't need him in here. Don't bring him in, Yeah, yeah, that's how they look at it, So don't bother me, brother. I'm enjoying each and every day of my life. I sleep in my own bed at night. I ain't got to be stressed out or none of that, So like I said, sometimes when I get a call from WWE, it's like a surprise. I'm like, oh shit, what do they want? So, because I don't think about it no more. Because as far as I'm concerned, they don't want me in the wrestling business, so I don't care. So I just do what I'm doing.
Well, Teddy, I truly hope you never go away because you've been so instrumental to so many people over the years.
Yeah.
I know you do the public appearances for autograph signings and meet and greets. What would you say? And I asked this question to Jake the Snake, and he had a really good answer.
Oh, I love Jake. Jake's a great guy.
I'm one to hear your answer for this. At these meet and greets, what is the strangest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign?
A titty. Yeah. A woman asked me to sign her breast. Oh, yeah. Pulled it out.
Just can you fit thugging and bugging on this, or
I just put holla player. That's exactly what I signed on it.
oh shit, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Jake had said it was on a woman, but it was the southern portion, and Jake's like, I can't do that. That is wild.
Yeah, well, brother, I tell you what, you meet all kinds.
So you've got so many road stories, and I don't want you to regurgitate the Ron Simmons leaving him on the road story.
Yeah.
What's one story you could share with us that hasn't been shared before that you would be safely allowed to share?
Oh man, let's see. I, I'd like to share this, and let me before I say this, it involves the Iron Sheik, and let me say about the Sheik now. The Sheik is clean. He's no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing. He's cleaned up his life, and I think he's been clean almost 10 years now. But back in the day, it was me, the Iron Sheik, and Nick Patrick. So we were riding together. So we were in San Antonio. No, no, we were Corpus Christi, but we were staying in San Antonio. So we had to drive back from Corpus Christi back to San Antonio to our hotel. Well, on the way back, you have to go through the Border Patrol. You get stopped by the Border Patrol to be checked. So as we got to the border check there, the guys look, they see who we are, so they're happy. So they just pulled us over and they wanted to just take pictures with us. They had already got some of the guys, and by the time we got there, they saw us, so they just wanted us to step out and take pictures. So we pull over, get out of the car. So they had a trailer right there sitting on the side. And so when we got out and walked into this trailer, we look in the back there. It's like a jail cell, and there's two people that are sitting in this jail cell. I guess they arrested them because we looked as we walked in further. We see two big bales of marijuana that's on the side, big bales of it, brother. And on the top, the one that was on top, it was cut open, and a lot of the buds from the marijuana were just hanging out of the bale. So we get in there. So she has his autographs, his pictures and everything. So he signs one for the border guy. He gives it to him and everything. And so the next thing I know, she walks over to the border patrol guy, and he says to him, he says, "Say, man, I sign picture for your wife. I make her happy. Maybe you give Iron Sheik a sample." Oh, he's asking the Border Patrol to give us a sample of this weed that they just took from these people. Me and Nick Patrick, we look at each other, we're like, oh my God, no, he did not. So we think we're going to jail now. So the guy's looking at him and he just starts laughing. They said, "No, we can't do that." And he gets mad at them, brother, because they wouldn't do it. Now he's cussing them. "Oh, you son of a bitch. I don't." Oh, he just went off. So now me and Nick don't know what to do, but I swear, I guess we were just lucky. It was a blessing. So we get him. We said, "Come on, Chief, we got to go. We got to go. Come on, sir." So he's regular running, but the guys just thought he was just being like he do on TV or something, but he was dead serious. So we had to get him out of there. So that's how lucky we was. I'm not going to jail. The Iron Chief asked the Border Patrol to give us a sample.
Oh my God.
I'd have liked to have
I
a
had
sample. There was some good shit they had on there too. You could smell it a mile away.
freaking I had brought Shane Douglas and Francine to a meet and greet one time, and Tony Atlas was there,
Oh
who I
yeah, I love him.
love Tony. Tony is a phenomenal individual.
Yeah.
I had never seen the foot thing in
Oh,
person. He was selling opportunities to come stand on his face, and there were couples that were doing it. I was like, "Tony, doesn't that hurt?" He looked at me. He's like, "I know my weight limit." He's like, "I could take a strong 315." How the hell do you know the weight
I
limit?
rode with him, brother. Me and him were really good friends, and he was so good with that foot fetishes that he could look at a woman, and he could look at her feet, and he could tell her exactly what her shoe size was, and he never seen her a day in his life. Yeah, he's got that fetish. We were going to start, talking about that too. He has the foot fetish, but like I said, it's a lot of guys that are in this business that have these fetishes, but they keep them hid. You never know. But Tony is, like I said, that's his deal. If that's what he like, I mean, that's on him. So he's decided to come out with it and let everybody know. And I did talk to him one time about that. And he said it was something that was from his childhood or something with his grandmama or something. She would always make him rubber feet or something like that. I'm not sure what it was, but Tony has that fetish, and like I said, he can make a lot of money. He got one thing he sent to me like a month ago. He got over 1 million views. 1 million. I got that. I can send it to you. Okay, he got over. Twitter had it. It had 1 million views. So if he got over 1 million views, look at all the people that are watching that. Some of those porn people may call him. Who knows? but I keep telling him he can make a lot of money. So I talk to him every now and then. So he's a little slow, man. So we hopefully we'll get him together, and because he'll just do it for free.
If he opened up an OnlyFans, he'd be able to double whatever he made through wrestling.
There you go. You know what? I hadn't even thought about the OnlyFans.
You tell Tony to get himself an OnlyFans, he can.
No, you know what I'm gonna do next time I talk to him? I'm gonna have him call you. I'm gonna talk to him, telling me and you talked about it, and you know how to hook that up, and I'm gonna have him talk to you.
I had the chance to interview Tony one time at a Heroes and Legends, and just heart of gold. Like you can't help but just be overwhelmed with the personality that Tony Atlas has.
Sweetheart.
And he was sitting there, he was singing when we were doing the interview and just talking about what made wrestling really important to him. And you look at him like, damn, I really wish you could have had a longer run.
Well, Tony, he could have had a longer run. He was a real nice guy, but Tony was, a lot of times, a lot of people get in this business, they can't stand success. Success is something else. Some people can't handle that. And I just think maybe Tony might have been one of those guys that just couldn't, too much too soon. I had to find all that out in the business, how you can get too much too soon, and that could mess you up for the rest of your life. So I think that's what happened with Tony, because he certainly was a nice guy, great attitude, man. You couldn't have a nice, about a nicer guy than Tony Atlas.
Say one of the final questions we'll get in here before we take this home here. You had mentioned everybody has a particular fetish. Without naming names or putting anybody on the spot, what is one fetish you had heard about that you were like, my lord?
Golly, man. There was, and I hate to say stuff about people that are deceased, you know what I mean? Because they're not, able to say something about it themselves. And so I don't want somebody thinking, well, how do we know that's true? The guy's dead, But the only thing I heard about one time back in the day is about Mike Graham. I think he's deceased now. And he had this, now I don't know this, I'm just telling you what I was told, okay? He had this fetish that he wanted to, he loved for the girls to piss on him or something like that, some stuff like that. So I kind of heard that. It's something else I heard that's really raunchy, so I'm not going to even repeat that. So I'm going to just leave it at the girl pissing on him.
That's fair, because we're not trying to change the rating of the show.
The man is deceased, so I don't want to be talking about somebody that's dead, because somebody, the haters, oh, you're just saying that because he dead, he can't come back and say nothing, so we just let it go at that.
Before we wrap this up, Teddy, do you got anything coming up that you want to make sure we get promoted any way that fans can come meet you at the autograph session?
I've been kind of chilling out here, since the first of the year. I got March the 4th. I'm going to be in Rockwood, Tennessee at the Rockwood High School. We're going to do a big fundraiser there to try to help the baseball team get some money so they can get some uniforms or whatever they need. Because that's what I'm about, too, is about going back and giving back to the community and helping people in that kind of way, too. You know what I mean? I can't give you a lot of money. I don't have money to give you, but if I can come out and make an appearance or something and help you raise money, then I'm willing to do that. So Rockwood High School, March the 4th, Rockwood, Tennessee, so far. I got some other stuff too, man, but they hadn't been finalized, so I don't want to put them out there until they get finalized. But other than that, man, they can just follow me on Teddy Player Long on my Twitter, Teddy Long Player on my Facebook. All that stuff will be out there. And also, I have a podcast myself along with my co-host Mac Davis. It's called Road Trip After Hours. We do that every week. It's on YouTube. And also, we do The Time Machine on Sports Kita. It's Mac Davis and Bill Apter and myself. It's called The Time Machine, so we do that once a week, too. So Sports Kita, The Time Machine, and After Hours Road Trip with Teddy Long and Mac Davis.
All right, well, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank Teddy.
Before you wrap it up, man, let me let everybody know I really appreciate, Scott. Thank you so much for having me on, man, because a lot of podcasts, I used to do them, but I quit doing them because I had guys editing stuff, saying stuff that I didn't even say. So that really pissed me off because, why would you, people, just no class. So, but to you, I trust you, and I'm just happy that you invited me on here. And anytime you need me to come back again, just let me know. And I tell you what, I'm glad to know you. I'm going to talk to Mac and see can we bring you on after hours on our podcast and talk to you.
Oh, Teddy. Oh, man. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And you have no idea how much that means to me. That is an absolute honor
Right.
for you to do
Well,
that.
you brought me on, and we'll do the same for you because that's what it should be in this business, man. Let's help each other. Instead of always saying negative stuff, let's try to just live our lives in a positive way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this up again. Thank you to the legend himself, Mr. Teddy Long, for joining us. And guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button because if you're not subscribed, how are you going to see these episodes? How are you going to know when we're going out and putting out this great content? Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. Make sure to follow Heated Shenanigans Podcast on YouTube. And guys, we will see you on the next episode. Holla.
And one thing you got to remember, if you don't subscribe, one-on-one with The Undertaker.